Welcome back to part 5 of setting up the Centre of Excellence within a Dataverse for Teams environment. So in the last video, we finished up the child flows and the setup flows. At the end of the day, they're all Power Automate flows, but it's more categorized by the nature. Now we're going to delve into turning on all of the inventory flows. So really, up until now, we've been focusing on wanting to get the inventory component up and running. So a lot of what we've done so far is going through the preliminary steps and more recently turning on the flows that are prerequisite flows to the main inventory flows, if you will. So we're going to carry on like we left off and basically systematically go through each of the inventory flows as per the Microsoft documentation, turn them on. Any that fail to turn on, we'll work through them together, solve the problem and turn them on. So the first flow we're going to want to do is we're going to want to turn on the admin pipe sync template v3 app. So I'm just going to make sure we filter on all of those admin pipe ones and look for the sync template v3 apps, which is this one. With it selected, across the top, we'll click on turn on. I may need to refresh my browser session, but we'll see. Just coming back to that pagination error we had in a previous video with regards to the actual being set to 100,000 within the flow, but the maximum being specified has only been able to be 5,000. In fact, speak of the devil, we've got the error message here. As per the Microsoft documentation, it does say that this is because you are using an insufficient or trial license. So as we mentioned before, 100,000 would be valid depending on your license, but due to the nature of our license. So if you remember in a previous video, we did specify that it had to be a fully fledged premium license across Power Apps, and on the Power Automate side of things, it couldn't be a trial license. So whilst we did set up the trial license to get beyond the ability to use premium connectors, such as HTTP for Azure AD, what we're going to do for the sake of this video is I'm just going to pause it up, and any flow where we hit this error, I'm going to quickly just manually change it to 5,000. But in reality, you're going to want to make sure you have that fully fledged licensing in place, and then this will become non-existent. Okay, so that was extremely traumatic, and I recommend it for the sake of your own sanity, and just if you were going to do this in a production environment, which we're all hoping you will want to, pay for premium non-trial licensing, because to go through each of those flows, find the pagination setting and changing it to 5,000 was beyond painful. I suppose in hindsight, another way you could have attacked this is got it in the code format, done a good Control-H, search for 100,000 and replace it with 5,000. That would have been the better way to go. But let's just recap on which flows we've ultimately turned on. So first, I'm going to search for those that are prefixed with admin pipe sync template v3. And we first have the apps one. Let me just expand the display name. So we have the apps. We then did business process flows, connection identities, custom connectors, desktop flow runs, desktop flows. Then we did flow action details, flows, model-driven apps, portals, Power Virtual Agents, solutions, sync flow errors, core sync template v3. Then we had template v3 I want to say connectors, but that wasn't actually one of them, so ignore me there. We then moved on to flows, model-driven apps. We've gone through all of those sync flow errors, flows. Aside from those, we then had a series of flows that were prefixed with cleanup-admin, and we have our check deleted, connection status, deleted bad data, orphaned makers, and power apps user shared with. So as you can see from the naming of a lot of these flows, this is all about having flows that are going to run and compile us that rich data set that we can then analyze. Just a couple of call outs. The admin pipe sync template v3 flow action details in brackets is purely optional, and it depends how granular you want to go with your analysis of flows. Primarily, as the name suggests, this is going to go down to analyze at the flow, the action level within a flow. Also to note, to load balance these queries against Dataverse and not just hammer it in one hit, the core admin pipe sync template v3 flow implements a delay randomly between 0 and 12 hours before starting to collect the inventory. So it might appear like it's running for a long time, but a lot of that time could actually be a delay. Okay, I'm going to leave this here, much shorter and sweeter than the previous video. And when we come back, we'll then look into setting up the admin command center app, which I think is the app that we've looked at previously when we wanted to go back in and confirm environment variables or set environment variables. Thank you for watching.